What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we're providing you a state of the market and stock picks for October 13th, 2022. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, consider subscribing, as I do provide daily and weekly updates to get you prepared for the day and the week ahead in this glorious markets. So, state of the market. One thing to consider is I was off on my core CPI. Today was actually the PPI, which again doesn't hold a lot of weight in my opinion. The core is tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So my apologies for that. It was this week. It was just on Thursday. I originally thought it was Thursday, and then for some reason I think I changed it to Wednesday. But nonetheless, it is tomorrow. That is what we're waiting. That is the pivotal movement we're waiting tomorrow. The market, again, is holding technical wise. It's holding extremely well. And something you really need to consider here, if the markets, if the inflation comes low in some aspect tomorrow, the market could really run. You need to be very careful and very mindful about playing any short positions right now. The market's essentially in extreme fear right now. So you have to be careful, because times like this is when the market, if it gets that hopium, it's going to jet. And if you are in a short side position, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. So you definitely have to be careful about what's going to happen tomorrow. Again, it's going to happen pre-market, so you're going to know. Now, I did talk about this yesterday, so I don't want to get too much into it, considering that it was my fault. I had the wrong report today, but it is tomorrow. And then from that point, so we'll be able to get a direction, and we won't be playing this choppy short range that we're currently sitting in. So again, tomorrow, very pivotal. You want to talk about the potential numbers. Again, I think if you really want to see panic, the market needs to start climbing back up towards 9. If it's roughly around 9, say 8.9 to 9.1, or anything over 9.1, you're going to get panic. Now, if it's anything below that, if it's hovering more towards 8.5, roughly around there, the market might be okay in some aspect, just because it's starting to normalize. You have to understand the market's getting used to these higher rate increases and all that. So it's becoming the norm. Then these announcements don't have so much weight. So this is why I talk about weight, and how weight adjusts is because it depends on how the market gets familiar with the current situation. Once the market gets familiar with the current situation, it doesn't hold as much weight. And so, and then again, following that, we start having banks tomorrow and the rest of the week in the next week. And so we're going to really have to see how this unfolds. But again, if it's not anything crazy tomorrow, there is a strong possibility we could start running. But one thing you have to also understand, there's a lot of black swans going on that are unfolding when it comes to Credit Suisse and the Bank of England and all these other. You have to understand that there's a lot going on there, and if they fold, it's going to have a butterfly effect. And this is why you have to be very careful with any run-ups or rallies, because of the fact that if one of these black swans play out, it's going to come crashing down just as fast, or even faster than it goes up. So you have to be very mindful of that and be very careful about the positions that you take. Now, with that being said, I have slowly started to get into some longer positions, only because of the current market sentiment. I think we're close to a bottom. It's not saying we can't drop another 20%. We sure can. But tomorrow will be pivotal. If we come in even lower than we have, that could be a great sign. Again, if we start rallying back over 8.5, I think you're asking for trouble. Now, if we break over of the high of 91, that's sheer panic. And if we stay between 8.5 and 9, it's debatable. We could sell off and potentially wick and then be done in the next 2 days. Whatever the case is, even if it's over to 9.1, I think you get a massive move down for probably 2 or 3 days. And then at that point, it's going to start rallying again. So again, there's a lot of different scenarios here, obviously, what could unfold. So we will see tomorrow, as opposed to just sitting here talking about it over and over. So I did do that quite a bit yesterday. So again, watching key level here at 35.67. If we get a clean break of that tomorrow, again, this will be all pre-market, so we'll be able to determine the market opens below that. SPX opens below that tomorrow. This thing can flush pretty heavy. Otherwise, if for whatever reason we get some good positive news, I could see us potentially getting back over the 36.22 before open, and then that could lead us to some upside momentum, possibly back to the 37.84. Put us right back in this bracket, kind of waiting for earnings and wedge in this wedge. And if the earnings do well, we could potentially break out. Otherwise, bad news, and we could dip pretty heavy, probably down to the 3,500, if not more than that. Potentially even the 34.41. Really have to see how things start unfolding in the next couple of days, but that's what I'm watching. SPX. Yeah, Bitcoin's gonna be much the same. Just waiting on core. If we get core, Bitcoin will move in tandem with the market. So just be mindful of that. Tesla sold off pretty heavy, but it bounced back. Question is this a retest and a fold tomorrow? Or are we going to actually start pushing back up? Again, it's very odd to see Tesla's come straight down like this. Again, I think the Twitter news helped with that. So this could have a big run back to 253. I think it's a strong possibility. I do have a small position in this. I'll be looking to add more here if the market does good tomorrow. And holds. I could add some more onto this before they really start jetting into earnings. Again, their numbers missed expectations, but they're still really good. So watching that for potential earning boost. If again, depends on what happens with that situation with inflation. So we really want to watch that. BA. Again, I don't trade this, but it's really kind of holding. I mean, you can honestly say this is probably a break and a retest. To be honest here. Break, retest, could dive here back down to 120. Strong possibility. We'll see what the value does tomorrow. Banks, again, I don't like the banks the way they're set up. Break and retest. This looks like it's getting ready to dump, potentially down to 90. So really watching that closely. Goldman Sachs at support. Break, retest. See if this dumps below essentially 289. It could potentially start selling off even more. So just really watching that one. Bank of America, it's actually broke below and retesting. This looks like it's about ready to dump as well. So the banks don't look really hot, and there's been a lot of bad information as far as layoffs and everything. So that's definitely not a good sign. You have to keep that in mind. But we'll see. This is why you need to be neutral, because if you come in bearish and for some reason the market starts pushing, and you try to short it, and then the market just runs away, because this is my concern. There is a lot of downside pressure, and all you need is hope. You get a little bit of hope, and this market's going to rocket, and it's going to destroy every put that's out there. You have to be careful, especially when we haven't bounced at all. And again, the market is in dire need of hope. And you give it anybody a hope, and that thing is going to skyrocket. So you have to be careful on the downside. Again, if it is, you want to make sure it's really bad. It needs to be really bad. Inflation tomorrow for this thing to really start selling off. And also we had the FOMC meeting notes. Again, didn't do anything to the market. So PPI core, again, didn't really do a lot to the market. Wasn't great, but guess what? Hey, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have as much weight. Like I said, the core would. Tomorrow you'll see the move. I thought that was today. Again, it wasn't. It's tomorrow. So again, my apologies on that. Nonetheless, it's been a long weekend. No excuses, but I try to provide accurate information all the time. So you do make mistakes sometimes, and my apologies again for that, but it does happen. We are human. We do make mistakes. So nonetheless, we still are ahead of the core. The core is tomorrow, and we'll take it from there. So if you made it this far, go ahead and drop a like. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.